I've got good news and bad news. Starting with the bad news, saving 10k in just 1 year isn't quite as simple as just cancelling your Netflix subscription, if only. But the good news is that it does come down to one really important number, and that is $27.40. And if you're in the UK, that's £27.40. That's how much you need to save every single day in order to meet your goal. And I'm gonna set out exactly how I did this, and no, you do not need to give up on binging Friends and The Office just yet. Here are the steps that I took to save 10k. Number one, be clear on your why. Instead of focusing on the figure, think about what the money is for. Making your goal a bit more tangible can be a big motivator. Do you want to save money for a better retirement? Do you want to save money for a better house in a nicer area? Are you trying to save money for your absolute dream holiday? Are you trying to save money for your kids' future? For me, my motivation over the last few years has been our next house purchase. We want to move to a house in a better location for where our kids will be going to school. So I've been really focused on getting our finances in the right place and making sure that we've got money saved in order to make that happen. Being clear on my why means that when I'm tempted by an impulse purchase, as I often am, I'm able to stop myself. And this is where that 2740 number can really come in useful, because I've spent that amount of money really thoughtlessly in the past. Now, having that figure in my head made me much more aware of even small purchases, so I could just stop myself and think, ask myself the key questions. Do I actually need this? Do I actually need this right now? If I do actually need it, can I get it cheaper so that I can save a little bit of money? Can I get a discount on it? Is there something in the house that I can repurpose for this thing that I'm gonna buy this item for? Anything to try and avoid losing that 2740. Having that number in my head meant that every single small purchase became a piece in the puzzle of my budget, helping me to push myself forwards towards the goal. When you purchase with intent, you're much less likely to overspend, and you're more likely to constantly be looking for best value for your money. Number two, commit to the number. So you know you need to set aside $833 a month or £833 a month in order to hit that 10k goal. When you're getting started, begin by committing a certain percentage of your income to go into savings every single month. No negotiations, it's gonna happen. Many budgeting experts suggest that you should be saving 20% of your income every single month. And if you apply that to this goal where you want to save 10k in 12 months and you need to be setting aside $833 a month, then your monthly salary would need to be over $4,000 if we were going to follow that 20% rule. If that's the case for you, that you can find that 20% in your budget and commit to it right now, then that's fantastic. If not, then you need to start to look to ways to not only cut back on your spending, but also maybe boost your income. I've dabbled in a ton of side hustles and ways of making extra money over the years, and honestly, there are so many different options, different things that you can do in your own time, from home. Doesn't even require you like getting changed out of your pajamas. You can do it quite easily. Some things take a little while to build up to a point where they're actually bringing in money, but there are a lot of different options. If you're actually employed right now, the quickest way to get that extra money is gonna be by looking for a salary boost from your actual job. So is there a promotion you can go for? Can you ask for a pay rise, like legitimately? When was the last time you had a pay rise? Have your duties significantly increased? Are you doing a lot more? How can you sort of justify going to your boss and asking for that extra money? Because you have to be able to provide some kind of reason why, you know, you deserve that extra money to be paid to you every single month. Make sure that you're putting out feelers for better paid jobs within your company, or start looking elsewhere in order to try and boost what you're earning. Look to a way that you could advance in the career that you're currently in so that you can increase your earnings. Number three, take control of your spending. You need to be honest with yourself about what a necessity actually is. I've certainly found with my spending habits that they are so tied in with my emotions. But then I've had a tendency to then use logic to try and rationalize that decision so that I'm not accepting the fact that it's emotion that has led me to that purchase. Let me give you an example. Like, you had a really hard day and so you spontaneously buy another new pair of trainers. You've already got 10 pairs of trainers, but you bought this new pair of trainers and you try and rationalize it away by saying, but I wear trainers every single day. So you try and get that logic to justify the spending, telling yourself, well, those trainers were in need because I need trainers because I wear them every single day. Your mind kind of plays little tricks on you in order to justify an emotional spend. Because as human beings, we don't like to be wrong, we like to be right. And so we like to sort of in our head justify our actions in order to be right. We don't want to accept that, you know, like maybe I shouldn't have purchased that, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So take control of your expenses and spending by first of all being extremely clear about what your essentials actually are. So your rent or your mortgage, your energy bills, food, essential clothing such as new school uniform and clothes that your kids have grown out of, things that have become worn out that you've had to get rid of. Number 4 is to keep expenses low. One of the ways that I've been able to save a lot more money over the last few years is by keeping those essential expenses that I cannot avoid extremely low. So some examples might be that you change insurance providers. You don't have to get rid of all of your subscriptions, going back to the Netflix argument from the beginning, but maybe trim it back to only 1 or 2 and rotate them so that you've got a different one going every single month. Look for more creative ways to save on your energy costs and look for more free fun at the weekends to entertain your family. If you're like me and have a family, then one of your biggest monthly expenses that you cannot avoid is probably food. There are thankfully a lot of different things that you can do to reduce your food spending beyond just ditching takeaways and eating out. Choose cheaper cuts of meat, use up every single bit of food that you buy, make sure that you have a very clear meal plan setting out how you're going to do that. Try having a vegetarian meal once a week, make your own soup and get multiple meals from just one thing. For example, if you cook a gammon joint, then use the leftovers to make sandwiches for everyone's lunch the next day. Whenever I buy a whole chicken, I do absolutely everything I can to squeeze every single bit of use out of that bird that I possibly can. So we'll have a roast dinner out of it, we'll have leftovers the next day. I'll then boil up the carcass and use that to make stock and soup. Literally not one bit of that bird ever goes to waste. Take snacks with you absolutely everywhere and drinks as well so that you're not buying on the go at premium prices. Swap branded goods for store-owned cheaper options. And keep your cleaning supplies lean. This is an area where you can really overspend because there is such a huge movement now, like this cleanfluencer movement that is really encouraging you to buy all these different like kind of miracle sprays and powders and cloths and things. Really, you can clean your whole house with just a few simple, very cheap things. Just some dish soap, some vinegar, some bleach, and some kind of multi-use spray. And to be honest, a lot of people don't even really need the multi-use spray. They make do with the first 3 things, and then just some multi-purpose cleaning cloths that you can wash between use. I was able to cut £200 off of our monthly food shop just by making small adjustments to our spending habits when we went to the supermarket. Challenge yourself to trim 10% off of your monthly essential expenses. Now, you might need to get creative with saving, but once you set yourself the challenge, writing down all those numbers and really forensically going through line by line of the spending on those essential expenses, you'll be amazed at the little changes that you can make in order to try and save that money. Just to give you an example, let's think about how this might work practically for you to get that $27.40 a day. Let's say you stop buying new clothes for a year. That's going to save you $1.50 a month or $5 a day. Let's say you meal plan and buy cheaper groceries. That's going to be $10 or £10 a day. Always bring food and drinks with you from home, $6 a day. Cut costs of your broadband, landline and mobile phone, $2 a day. Start a side hustle. That could bring in $5 a day. Cancel just one subscription, that could be $10.99 a month saved. All of that adds up to more than the $27.40 that you need in order to meet that 10K savings in 1 year goal. Be sure to allocate some funds to your fun money budget because sticking to a really strict tight budget can be hard when you don't allow yourself any leeway. It just sort of increases the risk if you don't plan for sort of some things that are on your wants list. If you don't make a plan for how you're gonna afford those, it can mean that you lose track of your budget and it all goes astray and it all goes wrong. And once it starts to go wrong and you feel like you've lost that sense of control, it can be quite hard to stick with the plan. Try writing down the things that are wants that you're gonna prioritize in your budget so that it's really clear what it is that you're allowed to spend your money on, and this can just really help you to avoid the impulse purchases that might send you off track. Keep your current account lean. If you are someone who, like me, struggles with impulsive spending, then it can help to keep the amount in your current account very low. My income really fluctuates a lot from month to month, and some months I may receive a lot more than normal and some months a lot less. In the months where I receive a lot more, I try and move all of that extra over to savings. Rather than allowing lifestyle creep to kick in and for me to think, hey, I've got this extra money this month, I move that to savings. And that means that when I look at my current account, I can see that I've got the money that I need to pay for the essential expenses and also that little bit of fun money that I've allocated to myself, but there is no extra room in there for impulsive purchases. Understand that the long game is crucial. It doesn't end with that first 10K. I have found that when I have changed my money mindset and been really focused on a savings goal, it has changed my spending habits for the long term, and that has helped me get my savings beyond that first 10K. And let's look beyond that first 10K now, because 10K can feel a little bit like meh when you think about how much things cost these days, like the big stuff, like a house purchase, how much you actually need for a deposit in order to get onto the property ladder, or in order to significantly, you know, like jump up a few rungs on the ladder to a significantly bigger house in a much nicer area. So let's just zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture. Money saved today may feel really dull because you missed out on that rush that you normally get from buying something new. But saving and growing wealth is so much easier and so rewarding just in terms of your own peace of mind and securing your future once you get that ball rolling. In the past, it was never about the long term for me because I was just in it for the immediate gratification of spending money. You earn money and then you just spend it on the stuff that you want right now. People who get how money works and use that knowledge to their advantage understand that once you hit your first 100K, your wealth explodes and the journey becomes so much easier. Let me show you what I mean. If you save 10K every year, and assuming you get a 7% return on that money, in just under 8 years' time, you will have 100K. If you continue to save 10K every year, hopefully achieving that 7% return, after that for another 5 years, you double your money to 200K. And it's then only another 3.5 years until you reach 300K. And it all starts with 27.40 a day. Just before I say goodbye, I just want to take a second to address a couple of comments that have been made on some of my previous videos regarding my use of currency. Now, obviously, as you can tell from my accent, I live in the UK and therefore I spend and save in British pounds. However, a lot of the viewers of this channel are in the US, so I will often use dollars, and actually a lot of my salary is paid to me in dollars, so dollars are actually part of my sort of day-to-day life anyway, because a lot of my salary is being paid to me by US companies that I'm partnered up with, ad revenue, etc. And because a lot of people watching these videos are in the US, I will use dollars a lot. But what I hope is really clear from this video is that whether I put a dollar sign in front of a number that I'm talking about or a pound sign, the principles are all the same. Okay, this is a video about saving 10K, whether that be $10,000 or £10,000. Now, obviously the two currencies are not equal. $10,000 is not worth £10,000, but we're talking about that round 10K figure here. And that 27.40 a day, that applies whether it's in dollars or whether it's in pounds. Now, I hope that this doesn't matter too much to the majority of you. I know that some of you have said that you don't like hearing someone with a British accent talking about dollars. I really hope that what's clear from my videos is that, like, wherever you are, the principles of money remain the same. Whether I talk about dollars or pounds, these principles of budgeting, making smart choices about your money, trying to be intentional with your spending, trying to avoid impulse purchases, it's all the same, regardless of whether I talk about $10,000 or whether I talk about £10,000. Fingers crossed that that's not too much of a problem for the vast majority of you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am so glad you're here. Thank you if you've stuck with me to the end. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for lots more money making and money saving content from me. Bye.